Hey everyone, I'm Sam, welcome to MTG Bazaar. I've got some updates for Delirium for New Standard. It has just become legal on Arena here, and we're looking forward to playing a bunch of it over the next few days, weeks, months even. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Delirium decks. I have two variants of it to show to you guys today, and we can get into those and allow you guys to have a little bit of a look inside this messed up mind of mine. So let's get to it. Okay, so here we have the red-green Delirium list. Now, there are a lot of similar things about this list and a few changes as well. So let's just cover those and we can go through what the deck's plan is in the sideboard. Now, meaningfully, most of this hasn't changed, but we did get a couple of new affordances and a couple of rotating cards that we need to make adjustments for. The number one card that's rotating out is Seed of Hope. Now, Seed of Hope is not exactly what we would call an amazing card in terms of card quality. Most people deem it to be, a mediocre playable. However, in this deck, it filled a really unique role that there is no replacement for at this stage. So one of the things that I've been thinking about, and you guys, if you've watched my previous early access video, you'll be aware of this, is that I don't think that it is replaceable. So what I've done instead is go and do two different things about filling that sort of slot with the deck list. So the first of it is Rubblebelt Maverick, which we have here. So Rubblebelt Maverick is a solid card. It gets played in decks like Insidious Roots already, and what it does is it surveils 2 on entry and then also provides some value from the graveyard. The value from the graveyard is not something we worry about too much here at the at least in the early stage of the game, which is sort of the slot we're trying to fill, but the extra value is good to find, and the ability of that card to get some extra card types into the graveyard early is indeed a good thing. Additionally, we have a big commitment to Terra Magical Adept on 3. So 3 copies of that in the deck, along with 1 Tersa Lightshatter, just to enable you to mill 5 cards, put a bunch of card types into the graveyard, and then hopefully be able to turn Delirium on that way just by hitting a bulk amount of cards in at the same time. The third one is something that's already getting played, or was getting played in the previous format. So it's not too unique or anything like that, but it does fit to this sort of brief, which is Summon Brynhildr. One of the things I dislike about this card is it's a 2-drop that dies. So, not that it dies to removal, which it does do sometimes, but you're normally pretty happy with that. The issue is that it just dies by itself, right? It doesn't require a card from your opponent to remove it. If you don't hit a good card off it, it's not great card advantage, although it's normally fine. Now, the good thing about this one here is that it just enables you to actually find the density of dual card types to actually get Delirium online. So it'll die itself, which in some ways is actually good now that we need a little bit more enabling. And then the other side of it is that you can just randomly hit it off a Terra, either to pick it up or just to leave it in the graveyard to turn your Delirium on. The other new card that we have here into the spells is Meltstrider's Resolve. Now this card I think is actually quite good. It's a sneaky little print. So it's an aura for 1 green. So enchant creature you control. When this aura enters, enchanted creature fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Enchanted creature gets +0/+2, and it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So if you are going tall on something in particular, so let's say we have a fear of missing out with Delirium on, it is a 2/5 at that stage that can't be blocked by more than 1 creature, which is not amazing, but once it gets a combat trick on it, we're starting to do work. What's more, the mode that I really like it on is something like Wildfire Wickerfolk. So this becomes a 4/5 trample that can only be blocked by 1 creature at a time. It also fights another creature, and you can also hit it off Terra Magical Adept. Meaningfully, Terra Magical Adept's biggest weakness is its 2 toughness, so it fixes that a little bit as well. So that's something I really want to give a go to. Again, it also just raises the differentiation in card types in the deck and makes it easier to hit Delirium off a blind mill. There are also certain arguments to this being able to fight a creature, trade 1 for 1 effectively for its for the aura, and then have that creature die over the course of the game to again get it into the graveyard and get Delirium more online more consistently. It is a bit more of a test case. The other ones I'm much more confident on, but I think I like the card a lot, and I think it's worth a go. The other big change to this deck is the mana base. So the mana base previously had Karplusan Forest and Copperline Gorge. Those have actually got pretty neat replacements, but they are painful, so that is going to be meaningful as we test this deck. So first one is Starting Town. We're all pretty aware of this at this stage. So, you know, it's our typical fast land sort of slot, but it is painful to get coloured mana off it. And then the other one is Stomping Ground. Again, painful to get it untapped, but does fill that dual colour type slot. We've gone for Restless Ridgeline in the ability slot. Oftentimes we'll find this slot is something like either a Fabled Passage, a Commercial District, or a Restless Ridgeline. I think I want Restless Ridgeline just at the start. It tends to take advantage of weirder decks, the best out of those packages, and because it's an open meta, that's what I've gone for here. But as we test this deck out, it'll be interesting to see what the additional basic types of the Stomping Grounds are. So we are playing 4 more, you know, Mountain Forests in the deck now, which should make our Thornspire Verges marginally better, but also how much life we're going to have to pay in order to play all our stuff on curve, and whether that's relevant or not. The format presumably has slowed down a bit. I think it has, but we'll have to find that out as time goes on. Let's talk about the sideboard as well. So the sideboard is more or less the same thing as I was already doing, but it is worth covering a couple of these things just to give you some ideas of why they're in there, and if you need to make some swaps yourself, hopefully that logic will help you with either when you're going to bring them in or why you want to drop them. So 2 pick your poisons. I think that's pretty standard at this stage. Very efficient answer to enchantments and sorceries and flyers. Soul Guide Lantern as just that one-off extra thing to deal with graveyard stuff. Usually I would take this out because it was in the sideboard originally for Omniscience combo, but I think that in an open meta I don't mind having it. It's also, you know, one of the least costly hate pieces you can have in the sideboard. So, you know, once you play it, you do ping a card, and then you can just sack it for a card and actually put an artifact into your graveyard. So the value judgment here is a little weird, but, you know, I've got it in for now. So, you know, feel free to cut it if you need an extra slot. Obliterating Bolt as a singleton, just to answer, you know, the various things that have a dice trigger and come back, like Unstoppable Slasher or Enduring, whatever. I like to have one of these in the sideboard. A couple of Pyroclasms is pretty standard. You don't basically kill most of your guys and you kill theirs. Last Overprotect for going fast or dodging removal spells. I've chucked in a Hunter's Talent. This was previously the Fight enchantment that got played in the deck. It is a lot more expensive than the 1 mana you ever commit to Meltstrider's Resolve. However, at the same time, it's got those extra modes on it, so it can go a little bit bigger over a long game. So the spot this is trying to occupy is for bigger, mid-rangey sort of matchups, where you want to, you know, have a something to commit mana to. So maybe you're playing against some of the other, you know, red, green, white decks, for example, that are playing things like Yuna and some Overlords, or maybe you can use it as an anti-aggro tool in certain spots as well. Pawpatch Formation, much the same as the Pick Your Poisons. I like having an instant speed one. That being said, with the rotation of Temporary Lockdown, this is going to have to earn its spot. I love this card, but it really is, it's on notice at the moment. So it could easily be another Pick Your Poison, or it could be something, you know, just completely different. There are a lot of naturalized sort of effects in the format, so whether it is this or another one of them, we'll just have to see. Additionally, speaking of naturalized effects, 2 Scrapshooters. This one comes with a body. It's very good against some of the more mid-rangey decks, some of the Unholy Annex decks, particularly that you like Scrapshooter against. Not only does it blow up their their namesake enchantment, but it also provides some pressure onto the board. So I think that's pretty valuable in those spots. We've also got our classic 2 Sunspine Lynx. 2's enough for this deck because you've got Breakout. Otherwise, I would normally play more, but anyone who's getting too greedy with their mana, you can punish them severely. I think that there are some tools available for slower decks in this format than, you know, more than there were in the last anyway. So I'm keeping those in here just to look out for those decks, and just, you know, it's a high quality card, so let's not worry about it too much. You know, we'll see about this slot. It could end up being stuff like Chandra, that, you know, it would also fill that sort of thing, but also, you know, just do it in a different way if that's what we need, but we'll find out. And the last one, Twinmaw Stormbrood. It is a removal spell that you can find off Breakout. Still a good card. Not going anywhere, that one, I don't think at all. So anyway, the deck list will be in the description. This is red-green Delirium, and let me know what you think. We're going to get on to Naya. Okay, and this is our Naya Delirium deck. This is something we covered in our early access, but we could only play best of ones at the time. There are a couple of changes I wanted to make from that deck list as well. A couple of the white cards I was trying out were good, but they were sort of extra to interest than what we ended up playing here. So we have 4 Seam Rip, 2 Sheltered by Ghosts in the main for the white. Let's actually make that a bit bigger. So 4 Seam Rip, 2 Sheltered by Ghosts to go along with the Terras, the Summon Brynhildrs, Fear of Missing Out, and a singleton Meltstrider's Resolve, just because I wanted a 3rd Bushwhack in here. So just to go back over, you know, the Terra stuff that we just talked about with the red-green thing, it's largely the same. However, the incentives are a little bit bigger here. So getting Seam Rip, which is effectively a portable hull, is a huge deal for a deck like this. Seam Rip is one of the things that answers hate pieces the most efficiently, answers aggression very efficiently, and it is also a card that in this deck you can sort of just choose not to take. Enough if you're playing against a deck, let's say like blue-white control or those sort of linear control decks, where it doesn't have that many targets, you just don't need to pick it up that often. Similar for Sheltered by Ghosts, but I did want to include a couple of Sheltered by Ghosts because we're going to pay a bit of life for the mana, and having the lifelink as well as the removal to be able to compete in a mid-range game plan against another board-based or aggressive deck, I think is necessary here. The reason that you may not want to be in Naya, you may want to be in the red-green deck, is largely the mana. So let's have a look at that really quickly, because I think that is sort of where the cost comes in this deck, and you know that's what everyone will be basing their decisions on with which one they want to play. So we have 3 Bushwhack in here. Again, 3 is a normal enough number, 1 more than we had in the previous deck, and we have way less forests. So that one had 6 forests, so we've got 4 total basics here instead of 7. So we've got a single plain, single mountain, and then we've got another couple of lands that don't... Well, we've got 1 more land that doesn't produce green, which is 1 Sacred Foundry, and then we've got 4 Hushwood Verges to fill out that rest of those slots that have missed. So the way that this is going to play out in terms of the mana is that you're going to less frequently have green-green. To compensate for that, we're starting to cut a couple of Keen-Eyed Curators. The card's still very good. The extra ones are in the sideboard, but when you can't make green-green on curve, it needs to not be something that you're committing to doing every time you have a Keen-Eyed Curator. Like, quite frequently, Keen-Eyed Curator is my turn to play if I can. So, just a couple fewer there. But additionally, there's going to be some games where it's going to take a little while for us to find one of our colors. Hopefully that color isn't green. I don't think we'll be keeping many hands that can't produce green. But if we can't find, you know, a white source, and we end up with, let's say, both a Seam Rip and a Sheltered by Ghost, we'll be ruining our decision to play this variant instead of the other one. I don't think it's going to be that impactful. There is a reason that Bushwhack is very good in these decks, making them consistent. But it is something that you're going to want to consider when keeping or mulliganing with this deck. So I'm interested to see how that plays out in best of 3 games. In best of 1, it wasn't such an issue, but there is mana smoothing in that. So we were seeing a larger proportion of 2 to 3 land hands in the first place than we would normally. So I really want to give that one a run, make sure that this is locked in tight. Hopefully it is, and we'll give it a go. So stick around for the gameplay portion to see how the mana goes there. Other changes in the main, we're just down 1 copy of Violent Urge basically. Everything else is relatively similar. All the logic I talked about Delirium with Terra Magical Adept, as well as Summon Brynhildr, remains here. We didn't have the slots for Rubblebelt Maverick in this one, but I think that's okay. We're trying to play more of a mid-range game plan here. We're playing more removal. We don't need to hit Delirium as quickly as we do in the other variant. So, fingers crossed that it works. Obviously, the first run with this was actually quite good, but I don't know how that's going to change as the format evolves, so we'll keep an eye on it. The sideboard is somewhat similar. Let's not go over everything again, but obviously we pick up a couple of things like Sheltered by Ghosts here. Essentially, they've come in, these 2 have come in, and the 2 Keen-Eyed Curator slots have come in, as well as 2 Outpace Oblivions have replaced the Twin Stormbrood. This could be incorrect. I really wanted to rely on the Enchantments Matters theme here, but it could just be the Twinmaws. I don't know. They both got a good argument with the Terras. But in addition to that, we've dropped things like the Sunspine Lynxes. We're basically mostly non-basics here, so we'd be killing ourselves quite a lot with that card, and put in things like, as I said, like the Sheltered by Ghost, just to, just as an affordance that we get against some of the decks in the format. As we see the decks play out in, this new standard, it will be more clear what cards we want to focus on to fight particular strategies. And some strategies we won't need that much help against, and others we will need a bunch of help against. So We'll just have to see as it as the format shakes out what we want to do. But one of the things I like about Sheltered by Ghosts is it's quite generic. Now, you don't want to get in every matchup, but the matchups that you do want it in can be quite broad. So maybe there's a deck that you play against that you're not expecting to play against. For example, if you play against, let's say, Simulacrum Synthesizer, I hope I said that correctly, and the amount of constructs that deck makes if you let it keep all its permanents on board, Sheltered by Ghosts is actually a good answer there. So, something like that, which has the potential to be a very good deck, but wasn't a major player in the previous format, could just be something you play against a bunch. And having a generic answer like Sheltered by Ghosts is something I really enjoy for games 2 and 3. So going up to 4 there, not just against aggro, but against those decks as well, it seems quite good to me. Yeah, I think that probably covers it for this one. We're going to give it some games and see how we go. So stay tuned for that. Let us know what you think of these two decks, which one you like the best, and we'll be going live for our gameplay. So we'll catch you there in a second. I haven't played that much Standard unranked for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I wasn't particularly interested in playing some of the other events that we had on. So there we are, 1361 versus Miss Lizzie. Okay, that's fine. Immediately uncapable. Immediately uncapable. Not an auspicious start for us here. I think that because we have to put 3 cards back, we're just going to go for the breakouts to do with it for us. Obviously, we're playing with pretty low percentage immediately here, so see how we go. Hopefully, we can get the Fear of Missing Out to draw us another card. Okay, we definitely cannot. So, because we can't, do we do it now? I think we do. So I'm just going for card types there. And what are you doing? You're doing Una plus Lumbering World Wagon plus Evendo Waking Haven. I don't know if this card's good enough. Like, I'm as much as I hate to say it, all these station cards seem quite bad to me. It's such a huge mechanic in the set, and I don't know. I'm not a believer. All right, let's get a mountain. So we can immediately hit him for 10 with this Fear of Missing Out, but let's not. I'd rather establish more of a board. Keen-Eyed Curator is interesting here. So is Summon Brynhildr. If they don't remove it, it'll be an extra card for next turn. But if they don't remove it, I'd rather the Keen-Eyed Curator anyway, to be honest. Alright, let's just hit for 5. Interesting. So, I wonder what this could be. There's not a lot of point in going for the Overprotect if we don't do it pre-combat, which is pretty risky. Although this does look like the sort of deck that could play sweeps. Although they are playing a lot of permanent matter stuff. So maybe they don't have space for sweeps. Alright, we'll go for a breakout. Fear of Missing Out is pretty good here. Alright, so we went over this last stream, but you want to attack with your Fear of Missing Outs one at a time to get the most combat steps. We actually found out why as well, which I had wrong the entire time, which is kind of fun. So they'll go to 2. And let's play something else, and then hopefully they don't have a sweep, but if they do sweep, we have the breakout to get out from underneath that. Okay, so that's a win on a Mulder 4. We'll take it. We'll take that. So looking at what they're doing, it seems to be a lot of basics rather than non-basics. It seems like entirely green-white. So I imagine they're doing Overlord of the Hauntwoods and Overlord of the Mistmoors. They're certainly doing enchantments because they've got the Una. So they're probably playing like, what's the 3-drop saga? It's like a wolf or something. So let's bring in all the anti-enchantment stuff. It's interesting. I kind of want a Hunter's Talent, but I'm not sure. I think the Rubblebelt Mavericks are just too low card quality in a game that can go long. Keen-Eyed Curator, obviously an absolute baller here. Patchwork Beastie is an interesting one, as is Tersa. I think I might cut a combination of these. So Patchwork Beastie is going to get shut down by stuff like a Rest in Peace. I think they'll probably be playing those and they'll have ways of finding them and recurring them. So I'd rather most of our cards do something all the time. Actually, speaking of that, I will put one Tersa back over that. Oh, we have a Pawpatch Formation we can bring in as well. Okay, missed that on the first run through. So let's take out all the beasties. Little lighter on the creatures total, but not too much. Not capable. It's not going to be one of those days, is it? This is quite good. So, let's chuck the Meltstrider's Resolve. Okay, so this is one of those classic hands in which a Bushwhack just adds 2 card types, which is good. I'm always happy for that. Let's not play that. Let's play this Thornspire Verge. Verge? The Vergy Village Verge. Alright. So if they kill this Fear of Missing Out, we're online. If they don't kill it, they've got other problems. We could also just Tersa them this turn. I think I like it. So we only need, what, 2 card types? So we can just get rid of the Summon Brynhildr. The question is, do we want to get rid of the Bushwhack as well? I think we do. Yeah. Alright. Scrapshooter is a good draw. So 5 and 3. Down to 12. How's the volume and everything for everyone? Seam Rip, that makes sense. Love that card. Analyze Del Pollen. Feels like they're missing like an enabler. I mean, that's why that deck plays Terra, generally. And a lot of them were playing Terra and Joshua and Overlord of the Boiler Builders. Volume is great. Okay, great to hear. Because their hand has been so bad, I actually don't want a Scrapshooter. I'm just going to start with the Breakout. Wickerfolk will do. Okay, they go to 5. I think I'll just Keen-Eye. I'm not going to play around a sweep until they show me one. Okay. Very easy first match with the deck. Including a win on a mull to 4, which felt great. We'd love to go first. We'd love to mull. It's a tough one too. I think we'll keep this low. What do I want to put to the bottom? It's probably the starting town. This set is so deep, I love it. It's interesting, that's for sure. I found it like, it's interestingly about as deep in Modern as it is in Standard, which is the thing that like I didn't expect. Okay, drawing another land there, no bueno, but hey, Seam Rip. because Rakshasa. Okay, Fear Missing Out here is quite strong. More to the point of just filtering through this hand. Oh my god, another land. Oh well. Can't wait to try Lantern out and get Wrath of the Skies. What's the Lantern card? I'm not aware of the Lantern card. So what are you doing with another land? Come on, man. Come on, man. So, Terra. Terra with haste is okay. I can't attack. But Tez seems really strong. Oh, Tez, of course, Tezzeret. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, Tezzeret seems completely unplayable in standard, but amazing for modern. There's a few cards like that. Like a lot of the like that Mythic Sphinx is. It doesn't seem good in standard, unless I'm missing something, which I may well be. But in modern, what a card! All right, let's do this first. Leave Naya mana up. This gets haste, which is good. Hopefully we get enough stuff. 5 ties. Yep, all good there. And then we get 2 combats. I'm not going to attack with the Brynhildr though. See what they do. This represents quite a lot of damage. I'm going to have the Fear of Missing Out back to block. The question is whether or not we need the Terra back to block as well. Do we need 3 blockers back? Probably not, right? Like, if they had a stab or... I mean, I guess it is just a stab now. It'd probably be gone. Anyway. Same rep's good. Could actually see the flip on this. It's unfortunate that it exiles, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers, or whatever you'd like to say about that. So this is interesting. So if we flip this, let's say we go to 3. Card token that's a copy of non-legendary enchantment you control, gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it, sacrifice at the beginning of your next end step. So we could just go get a Fear of Missing Out like that, but I don't think it's worth the life. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this and get the extra card of the Fear of Missing Out. And keep building this board ever larger. Yeah, that's not going to be able to do it either, is it? Such a strong board not to be able to attack. Yeah, no. These black 3-drops are something else. They remain good. Who would have thought? So attack with both is interesting. I assume they want us to block with the Terra. I think I might just block with the Beastie. If they have to commit mana to killing the Terra, then I think I'm pretty happy. Again, I could be missing something. No Arch Enemy's Charm there, though. For however much lifelink damage that would have been. Okay, so just a bit of Triumph. Sovereign's Bite incoming. Don't you bring that juju on me, Ricky Bobby. Oh, 4 of a kind. Nice. Alright, let's attack with exactly one of these. And you can go down to 1. My kingdom for an Overprotect. Unholy Annex. Lose the game the cool way. GG's, Odin. Okay, so they're looking like they're playing the mostly mono black mid-range deck, but the one that splashes white. The reason it tends to splash white is for a couple of cards. It's Legions to Ashes and Pest Control, I think, are the two that it normally will splash for. Then there's Elena Dusk something champion. I can't remember which Elena title it is, but it's the one from Foundations. It's got protection from instants and lifelink as a 4/4 for 4. So we could see 1 to all of those cards come in against us. I don't think that they're likely to bring in Pest Control, but it's worth thinking about for the same reps. They certainly require some answering in terms of their threats. So I think the Outplaced Oblivions go well here. The Overprotects are always quite good against these decks. I think that things like the fight effects are a little worse, or at least they tend to be a little worse here. And the Sheltered by Ghosts are a little bit mediocre, let's say, just because the targets seem to disappear against decks like that a little bit more frequently. I think I might put the Hunter's Talent in because it punches, it doesn't fight. And then I want to make one more adjustment here. Elenda, Saint of Dusk, thank you very much. Yeah, that Elenda. Of 20,000 Elenda options, that one in specific. I mean, I might be a bit wrong-headed about the Sheltered by Ghosts. And we didn't see too much stuff that Seamrip actually answers, right? I guess I do have Cecil as well. I think I'll just trim to 3 and 2 Bushwhack. See how we go with this. We might make further changes. I can see the Keen-Eyed Curators coming in just because the game's long. But, you know, they may have Rest in Peace or what have you, so... yeah. So this is one of the hands that I was talking about in the deck tech that could be a little bit weak with Keen-Eyed Curator because you can't get green off this, but you can get, you know, any other combination of the 3 colors that you need, basically. You can't get green-white either, but you don't play that any cards which are green-white. So yeah, I think it's alright. Authority at the Consuls. Okay, maybe they're a little bit more in white than I thought, or maybe they're playing that just as a hate card. I'm happy to answer it. That card is a pain in the ass, to be fair. So I think they're probably in the right, you know, right zone. And Demon Wall as well is something that they're doing. Okay. So let's fear missing out. I would like to get rid of a Wickerfolk just because it's dual typed and we don't have any strong enablers at this point. Batsy. That's fine. We've got a million removal spells, so. So they take the creature, which, you know, it makes a lot of sense, given the available options to them. We're only going to do one of these anyway. But, yeah, the mana here is awkward. So, I would love to make this a 2-spell turn. If the Thornspire Verge was online, it would be. But, you know, we're absorbing those percentages by playing this list. So, I think that I'll likely only cast 1 spell. I think it's going to be the Seam Rip on the Cecil. I think it's the most reasonable play here. They got Cecils in. I'm less worried about getting blown out by pest control as well, by the way. Not unworried about it, but I am less worried. Okay. So they do the drain because of the Demon Wall. Very good. And this is now green source. So we can kill both here. They are going to be left with the Unholy Annex, of course. Which is, you know, it's frustrating. But I think that is okay as well. So let's fight there. Get that back. Seam Rip the Demon Wall. And hopefully we get to start actually deploying our cards now. Our offensive threats, I should say. Been deploying a lot of cards to just defensive ones. Alright, so let's... Wickerfolk, Violent Urge if they block. I expect them not to, but... So no block. Let's go get a forest. Turn on our lands finally. Play a Beastie. Fingers crossed we hit Delirium. They are going to have a demon though, so either way it could be potentially problematic for us. Starcage. Starcage. Yeah, I definitely should have brought the Pick Your Poisons in. I don't know why I didn't. Breakout. Alright, so we're going to do a control breakout, which is really annoying, but it matters if we hit this card exactly, because otherwise this bloody program just goes right through the trigger. So obviously we don't get the double strike because we get the Delirium afterwards, but we do get the extra 2 damage. So I would say worthwhile. This deck can really save you off the top sometimes. It's incredible. Just lines like that are very strong. Demon Wall's still a problem for us though. Shoot the Sheriff also very good there. So they're going to get a 1-1 on attack here. I can't afford to block. So we'll go back up to 7. We'll go to 6. Let's mill a card. Why not? When in Rome, mill a card. So with this battlefield, let's actually have a look at this. Target gets +1/+1 against trample until end of turn. So we can make the trampling card be the Fear of Missing Out if we want to. And we also draw another card this way, in case it's, you know, something like an Overprotect. That would be great. It's a Keen-Eyed Curator. Yeah. So I think we need these both to trade with the Demon Wall. I think they're more incentivized to block the Fear of Missing Out, usually, but... You know, if we can get them to block that other way that they almost blocked in, I would have been very happy. But again, this is an acceptable deal. Okay, so get them down to 4. Bloodletter of Aclazots. Kill me. Very nice. Okay, so for some reason I didn't bring the Picky Poisons in. Perhaps because I'm a buffoon. Perhaps other reasons. Maybe my chakras are not aligned. I think that in this case, they're definitely coming in for sure. I'm not sure about the Scrapshooters. Removing an Unholy Annex is quite strong, but there's only so much we can do about cards like that in these matchups. Seam Rips were good. I would like to keep those. Don't know how I feel about Summon Brynhildr. Could be Summon Brynhildr's out. And then the last Seam Rip back in. Or it could be the Bushwhack back in. Fighting's a little bit better on the play. Although their 3-drops are very hard to fight. Just because they've got Death Touch or Recur or whatever, or both. Let's just do this. This hand's quite good. Do I shock here? I think that I do. Are you excited to go back to Lorwyn? Yeah, I'm playing that Pro Tour, so I'm very excited for that set. Yeah, it's gonna be great. If I wasn't playing the Pro Tour, yeah, I'm ready to get back to more classic Magic sets. We've had a good sojourn into other stuff, but I do want to go back to some of the, you know, favorite planes a little bit more frequently. You really want to get on the PT? It's alright. I mean, I haven't been, this will be my first time back for like 12 years or something, but it's not the be all to end all, that's for sure. But it can also be fun depending on who you're with and where you're going and all the rest of that stuff, so. So this will turn Delirium on. Getting a little punished by the mana here because we would like to just kill this turn. And this way we can't. But so yeah, that would have been lethal if the mana were better. But we wouldn't have had the same rep, so. And yeah, I mean, this is just lethal this turn, so it's like kind of whatever. Cute. Violent Urge, very good card. Yeah, that's totally fine. Let me just do it here. I mean, we could. I mean, the more efficient way is to play it on this and whatever, but I'm not waiting. Let's just get the win. GG's, opponent.